Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for yet more dedicated legacy action. Today I'm playing a deck I got off of Ali on MTGO from Twitter. It's basically saying, you know, lands is pretty good. How about if we add our own sort of pondery type card into it? So that's what we're doing. So Commune with Spirits is a 1 mana card just for green. Sorcery. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an enchantment or land card from among them. Put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So, obviously we're playing lands, so we have a lot of those. So we're going to be able to find those with it. We've also got a few other things we're finding. Exploration being an important one, Sylvan Library being another one, and we have a singleton Molten Vortex. We do have some sideboard cards that we'll talk about in a second, but essentially what this is trying to do is make the lands deck more reliable at trying to do its thing, which is a pretty good idea. Like, the general land strategy for the decks is good against. As long as you have a relatively reliable hand, you're going to be able to crush your matchups that are favourable quite effectively. So if you're not familiar with lands, essentially we are, unsurprisingly I suppose, trying to leverage a bunch of really cool lands that exist in Legacy. So we've got Tabernacle, which can stop people from going wide. We've got Maze of Ith, which can stop people going tall because you can just bounce one guy. Ghost Quarter and Wasteland to strip your opponents of all their resources. A couple of Urza Sagas which can go and get the Expedition map or Mox Diamonds, as well as just making a threat to win the game with. Bojuka Bog, Blast Zone, Boseiju who endures. Sejiri Steppe, which we're going to be using to protect our Marit Lage off of our Dark Depths Thespian stage combo. And yeah, a bunch of mana, and the Yavimaya, which lets our Maze of Iths and our Dark Depths tap for mana. So the only real things out of the ordinary here is the Commune with Spirits and the Molten Vortex, the Sylvan Library stuff. But I quite like the look of this. Sylvan Library plus Life from Loam is quite a combo, because you can do a decent amount of dredging and clear the top cards of your library once you know them. So every other turn you can just clear it with this. It's a very powerful engine. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to try this one out. I do like land strategy. I used to play lands in paper for a little while. Obviously, it was quite a while ago. It didn't look like this, but there we go. So let's have a quick chat about the sideboard. Sorry. So Steely Resolve. This is a enchantment, so we can find it with our Commune with Spirits. And what it does is we put it into play and we name Avatar, which is what Marit Lage is. So this means that our Avatar is going to be untargetable. So against all these decks that are just trying to remove, like, Swords to Plowshares it, and Solitude it, and Prismatic Ending it, and all sorts of things, Karakas it, etc, etc. We can just board in these Steely Resolves, and our 2020 is just going to be able to sail into the red zone uncontested. I've played this in Turbo DECKLIST, and I really like it, so I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays here, especially since we can find it a little bit more easily with the Commune with Spirits. We've got 3 Force of Vigors, because Blood Moon and various artifacts are a real thing. A couple of Endurances and a couple of Surgicals for Graveyard Hate. I'm not sure about the split here, but we're going to play it and see how it goes. We got 3 Red Blast effects. You know, there's a lot of blue decks, we want to hit them. 1 Mindbreak Trap. Not sure how often a singleton Mindbreak Trap is going to come up, but I imagine if it does come up and we draw it after boarding it in, it's going to be very good. But I think maybe we just want more other pieces. And we have a Soulguard Lantern in the sideboard rather than the main deck. Just another piece of Graveyard Hate that we can find off of our Urza Saga. So that's about it for the deck list. It looks a pretty interesting one, and we're going to give it a go and see how we fare. But before we do that, it's time to plug the channel. Likes, comments, and subscribers. These are things that I would like to have, because I want to know what you think of my content. I want to know what you want to see, what you don't want to see, that sort of stuff. And obviously, if I can get enough subscribers, I can get some money back, so that would be brilliant. Okay, let's jump into a league with, I think we're calling it Cantrip lands or something. Maybe I'll think of something pithy when I actually upload it. Alright, let's play a Legacy League. So this hand is an interesting one. We're going to be able to shoot some stuff down with it, and we're going to be able to Wasteland lock people. So I think this is a keep. We are on the draw though. I would have liked something like a Exploration or something to really get this going. But they're just playing out of planes. I think this is a good time to throw out a Molten Vortex. So if our opponent is playing something like Death and Taxes, this will be able to shoot down a lot of the guys. If they're playing something like the initiative deck, it's going to be a bit harder for us to make waves here. But what we can do is we can start Life from Loaming soon and shredding our opponent's mana base and hoping that we can keep this guy at bay. Now we might just be pressured to shoot this guy for 2 rather than wastelanding. We'll see what we draw. A wasteland. I think we are probably in crack this. We're not going to have to worry about our mana base here. Crack this from the Tigers. We'll see what our opponent does here. If they go to forge this up, then we will shoot it down with a Molten Vortex. Okay. That's all we're going to do. Shoot this. Shoot this. Discard the Sejiri Steppe. We can just get these back with the Life from Loam anyway. Weird that they would do that with this on board, but maybe they think that this is more of a cost for us than it really is, because it's not really a cost for us, because we're just going to be able to wasteland Life from Loam this turn. Okay, it looks like we're getting hit by a Seasoned Dungeoneer this turn, which is a bit annoying. We can kill this, but eventually we're going to have to do something about our opponents just constantly looping through the Undercity. But maybe that's a problem for the future. We don't actually have a Wasteland target to hit now either, which is a shame. Exploration. This is a bit annoying. If we want to kill this, we need to fire both of these off now. We could play in crack Wooded Foothills. Yeah, we can get... no, we can play in crack Wooded Foothills, but we can't get the second green out of that. So play in crack Wooded Foothills. Play in crack Wooded Foothills. Use that and 1 to get it. Yeah, there's not a way we can get this off the board without... yeah, there's no way we can get this off the board without pitching stuff first. So I think we're probably looking at... so we can pitch 1 to kill this. Wasteland. Play... No, we might just have to pitch both of our things and then get it next time. Sure. I think we're probably just supposed to keep the board clean here. That's the only way we have access to 2 red mana in that turn cycle, I think. Third plains. There's the white plume, sure. So this one might actually get to do something here. They're going to get 2 creatures here. So we're going to need to find something. Maybe we should have been going deeper, but we can't Tabernacle our opponent. But a Maze of Ith would be useful. We'll see what they throw in. An Archon of the one that stops us having the lands. They really swing and a miss. Wowzers. Okay, that was super good for us. If we can draw a red source here, that'd be real nice. Urza Saga. That's not a red source. So we can play out the exploration. Then we can play Urza Saga, go and grab these lands. We don't get to kill that though, do we? Not this turn. But I think this is a relatively good route to getting our way into this game. So we can get back Wooded Foothills because we're going to need red mana again. And then we're probably looking at Wasteland and Karakas. We can always get the other Wasteland in a second. There's green and 1. So we can play the Wooded Foothills now. And we can crack it and dome something for 2. But that's not really enough to do anything to this guy. But we're in a relatively okay position because they're not going... Unless they play a guy here and then they can go into the forge and then forge this guy up. And that's going to be annoying for us. But we'll worry about that in a second. There's a Seasoned Dungeoneer. A Palace Jailer. Okay. A lot of planes from our opponent there. Annoyingly. Let's take this. Our opponent can draw some cards here, which is not ideal for us. Let's crack this and just kill the Palace Jailer, just to keep the board as empty as we can. So we're going to dredge our Life from Loam. Thespian stage, not the most useful, but okay. So we have this as a Saga ticking up. So I think we are on cast Loam. Yeah, just cast Loam. So what do we want? We want the Wooded Foothills. We'll take a Thespian stage. Do we want the Yavimaya? Considering we don't really have a Wasteland target just yet, I think we'll take the Yavimaya. So we'll pay... We need 2 red. So we can pay 2 here. and play 2 lands. So we're not actually going to activate our Urza Saga this turn. Is that correct? So if we do this and this, I guess we don't have to make that choice right now. We can see if they forge, can't we? So if we go green and green here, then we can play this one out. This can sacrifice and go and get us a mountain. So we've got double red. We can play out Thespian stage. So we'll see what our opponent does with their forge. Okay, so they are forging onto this. So we're going to kill it in response. I suspect their next run through the Throne of the Dead 3 is going to be better than their previous one. Seasoned Dungeoneer. So this is going to put us to 4. So that's potentially just 1 attack from the Seasoned Dungeoneer. So we're going to need something here. I was just going to slowly get killed by this Undercity. Dredge right from the Loam. What do we find? Nothing too exciting. So, do we want a token here? If we make a token, it's not going to be very large. It's going to be a 2/2. It's something we can use to get the initiative back if we can clear our opponent's board. So we cast that. We don't have that many red sources available to us right now is the issue. We do need to get the Urza Saga up and running soon. We spend 2 on this, and then we have to Life from the Loam. I think we're just tapping this for mana, actually. We're going to get Expedition Map here. So we can make a 20/20 this turn. But we probably need to kill our opponent's stuff here. So we can go green. Cast this, get back. There's a Saga. Yavimaya I think we need now. And Wasteland. Actually, all these are getting pinged off, aren't they? What we can do is we can play the Yavimaya Cradle of Growth and then get the Expedition Map out that way. So we've got 2 land drops we can make. So we can play out the Yavimaya. Yeah, so then we can Expedition Map here. Let's get another land. We'll go and get Dark Depths, I think. And then we will shoot down all their guys. And then we can get the Dark Depths for next turn. So next turn we can dredge back, get back the Dark Depths, play it, and have a 20/20 available to us. Now, Throne of the Dead 3 is something they might be able to get into this turn and deploy multiple threats, which could cause us a problem. We need to pretty much just dodge double threats would be a problem, as would Seasoned Dungeoneer. These are the 2 things we're trying to dodge. A lot of basic planes over there from our opponent, really making our Wastelands look bad. Normally you can Wasteland this deck to oblivion, but that's not what's happening today. Okay, this is Entreat. Oh no, they're just hard casting the Cauldron. Yeah, that's us. Sure. So Initiative is one of the reasons why lands isn't played a lot at the moment. So there is that. Okay, let's move a bunch of our lands over here just to make life easier to see what we're doing. So, what is going to be good here? These Steely Resolves are going to be relatively useful because they're going to be bringing in loads and loads of removal spell potentially for our guy. And Force of Vigor for some of their bits and pieces. Like, we can't really kill their artifacts with them, which is annoying. These are things we're interested in. The Molten Vortex was surprisingly good. I don't know we have the time to be paying life to Sylvan Library in this matchup. And are we trimming on... Like, Lightning Bolt is situationally good here. Is that good enough? We've got any lands that look bad here. Blast Zone is fine. I don't think we need a Bojuka Bog in this matchup, so we can take that one out. Karakas is good. Sejiri Steppe, hopefully we won't need if we're doing the Force of Vigor. We're doing the Steely Resolve. So maybe we can trim that. I don't think we can really cut any more lands at this point, though. So, what else are we looking at removing for this? It's tough. Maybe we're dropping on Commune with Spirits. I don't think we need the full 3 Force of Vigors, actually. We can probably just do a 2, because we've got 2 Boseiju users already. Let's try this. Yeah, so we completely answered our opponent's board. But, okay, we have a turn 2 20/20, so we will keep this. We can go and get a basic forest to make sure we don't get shut out by something. But, yeah, the initiative mechanic is just pretty miserable, to be honest. So I think we play this one out. Go and get basic forest. Cast an exploration. Play this. Cast a commune with spirits. What do you got for us? A Steely Resolve. I didn't come here to not cast Steely Resolve, right? So I think we play out the Steely Resolve, and then we Dark Depths our opponent. So we're going to be making turn 3 2020. Now, if that's not good enough to beat our opponent's Multi 5 to make a Shroudy turn 3 2020 flyer, then yeah, it might not be. That's the problem with the format at the moment. And was that with Jitte? Okay, that doesn't do anything right now. Play this one out. Play this one out. Play this one out. And again, if something does go horribly wrong, we do still have the Boseiju. Our opponent should not have any land destruction in their deck. It's too greedy to have that. Okay, there's a City of Traitors. White Plume Adventurer. An Elite Spellbinder. Sure, go ahead. We'll lose our Mox Diamond. Okay, cool. That felt okay. Do we want to change anything here? I don't think so. Yeah, let's just resubmit. If they have the turn 1 White Plume, turn 2 Seasoned Dungeoneer type hands, then you can just lose to that with a 2020, which is kind of ridiculous, isn't it? On the old draw, but we'll see. So this hand allows us to do the thing again, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. I'll make a turn 2 2020. That sounds good to me. My opponent kept 5 cards. There's a basic plains. Okay, so it's basic forest is good. Let's play out an exploration. Let's play out a Boseiju. And then cast Commune with Spirits. Check this Steely Resolve and just do the same thing we did last time. Sure, that sounds good. Elite Spellbinder, sure. You can take our Steely Resolve, we can still cast it. This makes it cost 2 more, right? Yeah, okay, sure. So we'll just cast that next turn, and then we'll make a 2020. So what are we doing here? I'm going to play out the Thespian stage. And I guess we just play out the Taiga here. It's probably the safest one. And then we can play out the Dark Depths next turn. And jam. Okay. Next turn we play Dark Depths and make 2020. Now they do have a flying blocker, so it's not going to be an immediate kill. But hopefully it can do enough. This looks like a Seasoned Dungeoneer. There it is. Now we could draw a Lightning Bolt. And just kill their Elite Spellbinder and 20 them. This is going to come in, and they're going to have a little look at the top of their deck. Plains. Okay, so they draw the plains, I believe. Okay. Now it's our turn. Let's go to 2020 town. I know this is coming as well. So we can play this out. And we can play out this Molten Vortex now. And still have enough mana to do our thing. Sure. This way it can't be Spellbind or anything, and we can clear a blocker away. So we have a kill next turn. This Steely Resolve plan feels pretty good. I imagine our opponent's hand has got some white removal spells in. I imagine they're going to go down the right-hand side and looking for cards with the scry. Nope, they're just forging. I don't think they can hit us for 17 this turn. Okay, so they're forging up on this one so that it can withstand a Molten Vortex. An Elite Spellbinder. Does that matter? No. That is the second red source in our Mox Diamond, but the lands we need anyway, so it's kind of fighting on the same axis as our resources to Molten Vortex stuff. So this can attack because it has protection from creatures. So we might still lose this one. If we draw a Lightning Bolt though, we'll feel pretty... Actually no, we need another red source for that, so I still won't do it. If you watch my channel, you see me make who knows how many 2020s, but here's another one. Right, over to us. What do you got for us, deck? A Blast Zone. How useful is Blast Zone? Play Blast Zone. So you can play Blast Zone and a Boseiju. Put 2 counters on it. Kill any amount of 3/3s that get in the way. All their flyers are 3/3s. That seems fine to me. I don't even think we have to attack if we're doing that play. I think this is the way that we lose the game if we attack here, right? Instead of just Boseiju, instead of just blasting them next turn. Oh, Boseiju is legendary, isn't it? That's fine though, because we play this out. We float a mana off of this. Then we play this one. Keep the untapped 1, 2, 3. And this will go up to 3 counters on the blast zone. Well, again, a lot of lag on. There was a Modo update today, and again, a lot of lag in this league so far. So next turn, the only other blockers they have that are also flyers are 3/3s. Are 3 mana guys. So we can blow them all up here. That is safer than taking the 5 here and potentially getting hit for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it would be lethal if we didn't do this, I think. So we're doing the plays we have. They might solitude their own guy to give themselves some life gain. It's probably just the Seasoned Engineer coming in here. Oh no, they're all coming in here. Interesting. I guess if they flip over the right thing, they still win here, right? I can't block this one. Block this one. I take 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, they've still got me. Yikes. If we attack there and kill one of the guys, they swing back with... So... What we could have done there is we could have Molten Vortex to 3/1, attacked to force the block with the bigger guy, and then they attack us for less. Yeah, we punted that one, I think. That's on me there. Oh, God. Terrible. All right. We're on the play for this round. Still annoyed at the last one, but here we are. So we can keep this hand. We can make a very early 2020, so I'm going to keep it. Oh. So I think we start on Yavimaya here. Let's commune with the spirits. What did we find? We found a Wasteland. I think we'll take a Wasteland. If we need another coloured source, we've always got this Mox Diamond anyway. I don't think we're playing the Mox Diamond out this turn though. Maybe we should play out in case I have a turn 1 Thalia. But they know we've got a Wasteland and they probably suspect that we're a Life from Loam. Okay. So they've given us a land to blow up. I will take that. Oh, okay, that's a very good drop. Play Exploration. So if we play out Dark Depths, Thespian Stage, and Mox Diamond, we still can't combo them. But what we can do here is we can Wasteland them like this. And we can play out a Thespian Stage. And next turn we can play out a 2020 if we want one, or we can just keep Wastelanding our opponent, which is something I like to do. I think I'm just going to Wasteland our opponent again. Oh, wowzers. So we've got one land in there right now. So we play out this Mox Diamond, pitching this Sejiri Steppe, and then 1, 2, cast Life from Loam, targeting Wasteland and Sejiri Steppe. We will play a Wasteland. We will Wasteland our opponent. We will play another Exploration. Dark Depths. We'll play out. We won't play out the Sejiri Steppe this turn because we want to be able to give our guy Protect from white if they only land a flyer. What we're probably going to have to do is rebuy this a few times. Okay, writing is on the wall. So we're going to do the same thing we did last time. So we want these Steely Resolves and these Force of Vigors. And we cut a Bojuka Bog. And we cut Sejiri Steppe. And we cut some Commune with Spirits. And we cut Sylvan Libraries because they're slower. So we probably kept one of the 3 of the communes in like that. Yep. I'm still very annoyed at the last game, me punting that round. So I need to sharpen up and get some vengeance. Although I should be getting vengeance on myself for being a clown, but there we go. Okay. What does this hand do? We can Wasteland. We can shoot a White Plume, and then we can Wasteland and Wasteland lock them. That might be okay. Maybe we're supposed to mulligan to a quick answer for a quick run to Merit Lage. We have a Merit Lage that can't be killed here. Another thing I'm not sure I mentioned in the deck tech was that if you have a Steely Resolve against Cephalid Breakfast, you can name their little squid guys, and then they can't actually combo off. which is pretty cool. This is going to be a turn 1 Seasoned Dungeoneer. So this is something our hand lines up very poorly against. Sure, so we're probably losing this game. We can name Warrior on this, so this never gets to explore, if that's a thing we want to do, but by the time we actually get to do that, we're going to be quite far behind. So now if we start Wastelanding them, we're not really going to be getting anywhere. This Lightning Bolt looking very bad. If they had a White Plume, then we'd be in an okay-ish spot. But as it stands, I think we're in trouble. I don't think Wastelanding gets us there. I think we have to draw into our combo. Oh dear. Oh, it's only 2.5 weeks or whatever till, well, about 3 weeks probably, till 2.5 weeks, depending on when you're watching this, I guess. Until we're probably getting some bans, I would imagine, for the Initiative deck and Delver. Although we should have been in the first round, we lost because I'm a clown, so I can't complain. Some creatures, going to a plains, no other play, interesting. So what do we do here? We can start Wastelanding, but I don't know if that achieves anything. I think we're supposed to Steely Resolve here, in case we get like Anointed Peacekeeper or something. Because they always take the Lightning Bolt, I guess, anyway. But we may as well Steely Resolve here because we're not using our Lightning Bolt. So they're going to go down the stash route, unless they want to cross over and get the card draw. Okay, so just going down the stash route. What do they need that much mana for? I guess they've got hard cast Solitude, but Solitude doesn't kill our guy anymore. So, if we draw a Dark Depths, it's probably not going to be enough. A Maze of Ith would be a pretty reasonable draw. A Boseiju, does that change anything here? Not really. We just need to play out a land so that we can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they might be saving up for making the big old angel spell. Do we have to wasteland them to stop them doing the big old angel spell? Maybe. But that puts us 2 turns from making our guy. But this sets them off 2 mana drops here. I think that's worth doing. We have a choice of holding up Lightning Bolt or Life from the Loaming back our Wasteland. We'll see what they do. If they put a Solitude into play, then we'll just Lightning Bolt it. We need to keep our life total high. Solitude, sure. We'll do this now before they can touch the Spirit Realm or anything. And we say go. Still need to draw 2 things. We need to survive 2 turns and then another turn. Molten Vortex is good here, but not good, but not terrible. And I'll take not terrible right now. Seasoned Dungeoneer, sure. Oh boy howdy, is this going to hurt us? What do they find? An Aven Mind Sensor, an Arcanum of Emeria. I think we can just concede this. I think we just go again. So that game, if they played the White Plume on turn 1 instead, that game is completely different because they didn't really have anything else to do for a while. But maybe they were just sandbagging threats, so they might have actually had some action. Alternatively, we could play Endurances instead of Force of Vigor, but I think the ability to wasteland lock our opponent is very strong, and making sure that we can get rid of a ley line if it comes to it is nice. Okay. Alright, we've got a lot of ways of finding our things. I think we can keep this. We've got two redraws here. The question is, what do we play first? I think we play out the Mox Diamond here. And then we cast the Commune in case we hit a green source. Which of these would I actually like here? I think the Wooded Foothills, if we're just trying to race to Dark Depths, is better. Then we can play this one out, go and get ourselves a Taiga, play out Exploration, and then we get to play out the Urza Saga, so we can start making Saga tokens next turn. Obviously, if we find a Thespian stage, we can do some. Okay, so they're holding up Swords of Plowshares here, is what they're quite clearly telegraphing. So I think we do still Commune with Spirits rather than making a guy here. The upside of things is quite high. It's not really very exciting, is it? Is a Blast Zone going to be useful in this game? Or do you just want the forest and start making the tokens? I guess the Blast Zone could come in handy later on. And it's more or less free to do so right now. So I'll take this Blast Zone. I'm going to play this Blast Zone out. So we do get the Expedition map, which can find us the other half of our combo next turn. So we're quite reliable at making a 20/20. Now, our opponent has telegraphed that they have a Source of Plowshares because they pay 3 life to keep the Zemira untapped. So the White Plume, is it? Sure. Haven't seen that much initiative in the recent leagues I've been playing, so 2 straight away is a bit mean. Right, so we draw and see if that changes anything. A crop rotation. Interesting. So we have a 20/20 available. Do we just want to make another token in Jam? I think we do want to make another token in Jam and force some action from our opponent. Because this can get us the... what's it called? The initiative. Because our guys are going to be 4/4s. So we're going to go get Expedition map here. And then we can jam our guys. So we're ahead on the initiative here. This gets us the forest, I think. Or is it? It might be the mountain here. Is it the mountain or the forest? It's probably the forest. And what are we doing here? We're playing out the forest. Or do we play out the... If we play out the Mox Diamond, our guys are just bigger, right? So this is just better than a forest. And then we have 2 mana to crack the Expedition map. So we might as well do that. We don't really need to do it now, actually, do we? Let's play out our Dark Depths. Rather keep our guy as healthy as possible. Alright. What are you going to play for us this time? A White Plume again? No. Swords to Plowshares on our Construct token. Is that worth Sejiri Stepping? Is it worth Sejiri Stepping? Because Sejiri Step this away. I think it probably is. Sacrifice this Blast Zone. Oh, we bought out the Sejiri Step, didn't we? Oops. We can get a Maze of Ith though. That's fine. We don't get to Expedition map this turn though. But we just get to be the initiative guy. Our opponent's taking a lot of damage. Sure, White Plume. Okay, so this is going to make their guy a 5/5. It's a little bit frustrating for us, but we have the Maze of Ith here anyway. Wish I had a Yavimaya in play right now. So our guy's only a 4/4. A Wasteland. How useful is the Wasteland right now? It's relatively useful. We can crack this Expedition map with probably these 2. Even up our Wasteland. Go and get ourselves a Thespian stage. Play our Thespian stage. So we have a 20/20 next turn. We don't have a way to protect it. Not the cleanest of games so far this league. I'm sorry about that. So they're going to hit us for 5, but we're already on 24. So that's not the problem right now. The problem is if they can kill our 20/20. Now they can attack with 2 guys and we can trade 1 off here. Gemstone Caverns really going all in on a seasoned Dungeoneer. Okay. They're holding up this 1 white mana alongside this other 1 white mana. So they might be able to flicker our things. There is an argument for wastelanding this to dodge Touch the Spirit Realm specifically. What guys are coming in? So that guy is getting protection from creatures. So we can make a guy here. We can make the Marit Lage and block. Our opponent has made land drops. They can't cast Touch the Spirit Realm as a spell. They can cast it as a flicker, which is still good enough to kill our 20/20. If they have a Touch the Spirit Realm, can we win this game at all? I don't know if we can. So I think we will make our guy and try and block with it. Like if they've got the removal spell, then our hand doesn't go anywhere. We don't have a Life from the Loam or anything anyway. We don't really have any other way of playing this game because all of our resources are face up. Touch the Spirit Realm? Yep, sure. We'll bounce this one back. And I guess we'll take the 4 this turn. If we block later... So we could have done it the other way around. But this way we can block a bigger creature later on. Okay, so we really do need to hit a Life from Loam. The problem is if we hold up the Wasteland, if we Wasteland so they can't do that, and then wait till next turn to make our guy, then we don't actually go anywhere. Which is the kind of the issue. Because if we Wasteland, then they're just going to untap and then have enough mana to touch the Spirit Realm, so it doesn't really protect us from their thing. We just needed to draw the Steely Resolve. I guess we could have sat there and waited for it. We've already gone through 2 communes as well. So I think we're just going to lose this because the initiative is a mechanic that shouldn't exist. It's more or less how I feel. We definitely could have played it cleaner though. When we did that crop rotation, that was a mistake because we didn't have the Sejiri Steppe in. Okay. So, 2 of these guys are things I cannot block. Let's see which ones. The White Plume and a Seasoned Dungeoneer. So we do get to kill the other White Plume. Ancient Tomb. Lotus Petal. I can smash this one down. They got another touch of the Spirit Realm. That'd be pretty annoying. A Life from a Loam. Okay. How does this change things? How much damage are we facing down? We can block the biggest, but they're going back through all the nonsense again, aren't they? So, I would like Dark Depths and Thespian Stage and another land. It doesn't matter which land it is. A mana-making land would be nice. I don't think I want to get a fetch land here. Is the Urza Saga useful? Potentially. If things go wrong for us. So I'll pay green. And this one doesn't really matter what lands we use because we're not doing anything else that requires coloured mana here. So we may as well leave up utility. So we can make a 20/20 again. Play this one out. Play this one out. So does our opponent have it to stop our 20/20? Aven Mind Sensor. Sure. That kind of does it. Now we could just go into a Thespian stage up all my Maze of Iths and try and sit behind as many as we can. But if we do that, our opponent will just kill us with Trap because that's how the initiative works. Okay. How many is coming in? Presumably all of them. No. Okay, this says that they do not have a removal spell in hand. Okay, so they have an 8/8. So we'll take 7 and then we die in the Forge next turn. So what we need to do is need to draw a way of removing their Aven Mind Sensor next turn. We have ways of doing that. So we don't dredge this turn, right? Because if we dredge, we can't hit Lightning Bolts, or we don't have any lands that let us push through because we don't have the Sejiri Steppes. There's no point dredging. We just need to take a normal draw and try and draw a Lightning Bolt or a Vortex. A Steely Resolve. So we die in our opponent's upkeep here. There's no way we can bash through. Might as well show our opponent our cool tech. We can name Warrior on this, so that these, or Human, so that these can't be targeted to be unblockable. But both of these are creature types that have unblockability. They're both party types. Oh, do they have the removal spell as well? Sure, sometimes your opponent's just got it all. I don't think we beat the hand, even if we make that correct play with the crop rotation earlier. Some hands are just very hard to beat, and White Initiative has a lot of those hands because the deck is fundamentally broken, I think. Alright, we're 0-2 against Initiative, but we should have won the first one. So I guess we're 1-1 in terms of what the deck's actually doing, even if our record isn't that way. Let's go into round 3. Okay, we're on the play. We don't have a green source. That's the issue with this hand. I don't think we can keep this hand without a green source. This lets us play a Life from a Loam Wastelandy game. We've got a spare Boseiju to put back. Seems fine. We don't want to get caught. We do have the ability to make a 20/20 in the near future. We don't want to get caught with our sort of pants down with the Boseiju though. I think we do play out the Boseiju though, in case we need to crop rotate for something. So like a turn 1 Wasteland from our opponent, we can crop rotate away. Verdant Catacombs. Okay, so our opponent's some sort of black deck. This also gives us Bojuka Bog on turn 1. A Bayou. This could be Elves. Could be Newton Elves. What we're looking at here. If it's Elves, Tabernacle is going to be a big help for us. A Green Sun's Zenith into Dryad Arbor. Certainly feels like something an elf player would do, doesn't it? I don't think we're crop rotating this turn. I think this is the Wasteland, our opponent's turn. Get rid of this because this provides 2 mana if they have a Cradle in play. Depending on what our opponent does, we can respond with a crop rotation. An Elvish Mystic with 1 floating and an Elvish Reclaimer. Okay. A Wasteland. Okay, that's a draw that I'm not unhappy with. We're just going to play like a weird... we're going to crop rotate for Tabernacle and then waste a Bayou. I think the mana denial plan here is probably where we want to be. It means we're a couple of turns off of rebuying our things, but I think that's fine. I've not played lands for a while, and I've certainly not played against Newton Elves. So they can pay for 2 creatures this turn. But they're not really accelerating and developing beyond that. If they don't have a 3rd land, well, it's supposed to be a 2nd land because only one of them was a Dried Arbor. Okay, so they've got a land that we can't kill unless we have a Ghost Quarter. The Reclaimer coming in, bopping us is better than it could be. If this is just a beta, then I think we're okay. An Exploration. That's what we wanted to see. I'll take that. So we can go Exploration here and then play out this Maze of Ith. So that covers our backs for some of the damage. And then next turn we can play out Thespian stage, get back some Wastelands, and start Wastelanding our opponent. We want our opponent to miss a land drop here. Nope, no misses. Okay, we're still going to be on the mana denial plan here. We could have left that untapped so that they can, so they can't go and get something off of it. They can get a Bojuka Bog, actually. That's pretty good as a thing they can do. We play this out, and we should have just taken the 3 there. Actually, I think we're actually, because of that, we're supposed to play out the expedition map here, because they can just go get Bojuka Bog here and make our Life in the Loam look a bit bad. Now they might do that end of turn anyway, but I think it's best to not play into the obvious trick. We made a mistake by not taking 3 damage there, which is an unusual mistake to make, but there we go. That's the thing when you're commentating whilst playing. You kind of need to be relatively quick with your plays because you're commentating and doing stuff, and you sometimes make mistakes. Okay, so this turn they're going to be doing some Gaia's Cradle type stuff. So a Progenitus is something that will have protection from everything, including Maze of Ith. So that's not going to be great for us. Yeah, we might have punted this for Maze of Ithing our opponent's attacking creature. Okay. So this is just natural order now. Sacrificing an Elvish Mystic, probably. Alright, they don't even need to do that. They can sacrifice a Dried Arbor. Sure, so this gets Progenitus, I believe. If they have Progenitus. They do have Progenitus. Okay. So, this is going to be a difficult one to win. We don't have a... what's it called? The Glacial Chasm. So we need to make a 2020. A crop rotation. So we crop rotate into... We crop rotate this into Yavimaya. Then we pay 2 to crack this and go get Dark Depths. Okay, so we can make a 2020 and we take 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That works. Crop rotate this into Yavimaya. 1, 2, crack this. For Dark Depths. Play Dark Depths. Then we say go. If we get in a situation where we have to use the Maze of Ith, we're probably losing the game anyway. But we've given ourselves a 2020. And our opponent has to pay for all these triggers. They won't affect our guy because our guy's indestructible when we get there. Now they do happen to have the Cradle, which just pays for all their guys. But that means Cradle's not doing another natural order or something. Because natural order this turn would be lethal if they have another one. We can deploy the Dark Depths to block as well. Not the Progenitus though. We are taking that straight 10 to the face. What are they attacking with here? Just the Progenitus. Okay, we have no reason to do anything with our Dark Depths. So our opponent might have an Endurance. They want to cast with their mana base here. Alright, let's see what they have. They've got 1 card in hand. A green Sun Zenith for 3. So this is for an endurance, I believe. Yeah, so there's the endurance. They're going to nuke our graveyard so we can't life from the Loam stuff. That's fine. Well, it's not fine, but it's the situation we're in, right? So we need to draw a Sejiri Steppe here. Or a crop rotation. Or the expedition map that's shuffled in. This is indestructible, so it can't be destroyed. A life from the Loam. I can't see any way out of this one. We can life from the Loam back these, nothing happens. Yeah, we needed that 1 card in our opponent's hand not to be an endurance there. I think we just got a little bit unlucky. Okay. Yeah, if we'd have let that 3 hit us and then gone with the Wasteland plan, I don't think that actually does very well for us because of how many lands our opponent drew that game, basically. They had a load of lands, but just the right little pieces of action at the right time. So they're going to be a Fiend Artisan deck, I reckon. Which means Soulguide Lantern might be playable. The rest of what we got going on here doesn't feel that playable. The Endurance might be better than the Soulguide Lantern. Excuse me, because the Endurance trades. Can trade into some of their guys. So I quite like that. Is this a Sylvan Library matchup is the question. Because that would be the obvious cut. We're definitely not cutting Lightning Bolts and Molten Vortex. These feel amazing in this matchup. So I think it might just be the Sylvan Libraries that got to go here. Is our opponent running... what's it called? Ley lines. Seems unlikely in their endurance deck. They probably just would rather have more endurances because that fits with what they're doing. And we don't need to win with life from the Loam. You know, we've got crop rotations and things anyway. So I think we'll submit like this. And see how we go. What does this hand do? We commune with spirits. And then we do some other stuff. We have a life from the Loam. This seems like a Wasteland lock if we want it. And we have the ability to try and find something really nice off of our commune. I think we take the exploration here. That's going to be the best thing we can do with all of our mana. Now, if they have a Wasteland in their deck, which they might have 1 of in their deck, then that's going to be really annoying for us. But I believe they only have 1. Yeah, it's not a Wasteland. Okay, we're fine. Once upon a time, what are you going to reveal? I think you want to cast that before you play your Verdant Catacombs, to be honest. This is probably getting a basic forest, I would imagine. Yeah. Okay, so we've got a Boseiju, which can blow up a forest if we want to. I think step 1 is to play exploration. Step 2 is probably jamming a couple of lands into play. Play a Wasteland and a Maze of Ith. And do you want to just life from Loam and start dredging? I think we do. We can crop rotate now for something. We might as well crop rotate for the... if we crop rotate for... is it better if we know what we're getting there? We can crop rotate for the Tabernacle and slow our opponent down and then buy back our Maze of Ith. That's probably pretty good. Then we can just start dredging and firing off Wastelands if they have anything that is non-basic. If not, we can start Boseijuing until... Oh no, Boseiju only hits non-basics, isn't it? It's only Ghost Quarter we have to shred through our opponent's entire mana base. I suspect this is going to get themselves a basic forest as well. Yeah. Findhorn Elves and a Lanor Elves. So all of these can pay for themselves, which is kind of annoying. Endurance. Getting rid of our life from the Loam. Sure. That means we can draw into something like a Vortex or something. Ooh, Commune with Spirits. I like this one. What are you going to find us? A Thespian Stage or a Red Source? Thespian Stage or Red Source? That's close, to be honest. I guess we're less likely to find... Like the Red Source is probably only good with the Vortex, really, or a Lightning Bolt if we draw it. So I think we just take the stage here. And then we deploy some stuff, I guess. We're kind of spinning our wheels because our opponent's got access to basics, really. Now these guys pay for themselves, and they're just going to keep doing that until they can natural order us. And then they're going to get Progenitus, then we're going to die to Progenitus again. Because we don't have a Glacial Chasm. It's going to be a Fiend Artisan. Okay, so this can start firing off some lads. Okay, so this might as well copy a Maze of Ith since we're here. It still has its text. It still taps for mana because of the Yavimaya. Like, we can fire off this Life from the Loam and just start dredging to find our win. Like, that's probably fine. Go green, green. And we might as well play this one out. They won't play out the Boseiju just in case we have a target for it. We can't even fire off our Wastelands as something to buy back either, which is sad. So we're getting to nab one of these. Oh no, we're getting to take all their mana out this turn. Okay, they don't really want to go through this Tabernacle nonsense. And we've got the inevitability with a Life from the Loam. I'm surprised that they are scooping that one up, considering how much time they got on their clock. Right, that seems fine. I guess we just roll it back again and just try and be the control-y lands deck. What does this hand do? It communes with spirits. Is a commune going to be good enough here? We can accelerate out pretty fast if we find our combo, so I don't hate that. Like, commune finds exploration, it finds dark depths, it finds the magmatic. Well, no, it's not magmatic, is it? I can't remember what it's called. The vortex, Molten Vortex. I think Molten Vortex in this matchup is going to be a real house. Have the Sejiri Steppe we don't really care for too much either. Oh, wowzers, trousers. I don't know if we need the Sejiri Steppe here at all. I guess we're probably pitching the Boseiju though, just in case. Then we'll cast this Commune for green mana. Let's see what we have. The Molten Vortex and the Exploration. Wowzers, my cup runneth over. I think the safest pick here is the Molten Vortex though, truth be told. And then I think we play out the Thespian stage. Then we play out the Mox here. We'll pitch the Sejiri Steppe. And then we'll play out this Molten Vortex. And then we can reappraise the situation next turn. Maybe we're just supposed to go for the Turbo Depths with the ability to punch it through. But Sorcery Speed, Sejiri Steppe isn't the most exciting. Sure, Fiend Artisan, that's very fair compared to what we're doing. Which is fine by me. A Bojuka Bog. So we'll play out this Dark Depths. Now, we can kill this Fiend Artisan or we can kill this Reclaimer. The Reclaimer can get Karakas or Wasteland, so I think we're supposed to kill the Reclaimer. Okay. The writing is on the wall there, sure. So we kill this. They probably need to wait to see if we had a land first, because this can just go and get Karakas. I guess it is on a turn delay though is the problem. Because if we go make this guy at their end step, this will come in tapped. But that means that they should have a Karakas in their deck to draw two. So maybe they want to take the draw there. But maybe it's just not worth their time. But I think if they do get to bounce the Dark Depths tag we make there, we might be in a bit of trouble. Obviously, as soon as we find a Life from Loam, this game would be over. Right, let's go on to the fourth round. Alright, our opening hand for the fourth round looks... It makes a 2020, and we have access to things like Bojuka Bog and stuff. So, yeah, I think we keep this one. Probably have to lead out on the Boseiju, though. Now, this doesn't necessarily beat Reanimator, because they can discard the crop rotation. But it gives us turn one play, gives us a little bit of Wasteland insurance, and we just play out our things, and then we try and kill our opponent with a 2020. As I've done so who knows how many times on this channel. We do have the Ghost Quarter if we end up in a situation where we have to blow up all of our opponent's lands, which is something I enjoy doing. A Windswept Heath. Is this going to be like another Elvesy type matchup? Should be noted that if we crop rotation... Oh, it's going to be like a mirror. If we crop rotation away our Boseiju, we're not going to have a lot of lands. There's a Wasteland, sure. Do it. Do it. Yes. Excellent. So we're in a slight interesting situation here. We can go and get the Yavimaya, which turns on our other lands. But it also turns on our opponent's ability to make a 2020. Another Yavimaya. So we want to make the Thespian stage first here. And then next turn we make the Dark Depths and turn it into a guy. Now, there's a lot of ways this goes wrong. Our opponent can play a crop rotation for Karakas or a Wasteland, etc., etc. So our opponent can make a 20/20. Okay, so what we're supposed to do here is play out the Wasteland, I think. Our opponent can just force action on us here. So we play out the Wasteland, and if our opponent decides to crack their... Oh, this is really interesting. If our opponent decides to crack their Thespian stage to copy the basic at any point, or if they crack their Verdant Catacombs without another mana in play, then we hit the Thespian stage. They have the exploration advantage, unfortunately. We do have like all the good lands, but they can copy our lands. Ghost Quarter, Field of the Dead. Sure, that's not something we have. What we can do here is we can Wasteland their Thespian stage, and it will copy their forest, and then we get to make our Dark Depths without them being able to copy it. That loses to a bunch of things. So if we play out our Dark Depths first, and then we go to Wasteland the Thespian stage, then they Ghost Quarter, and then we activate. Yeah, so we need to Wasteland the Thespian stage now. This is just going to copy the forest, I imagine, to blank us. Now, they might not do that. Okay, they didn't tap down their Ghost Quarter. Now we can blow up their exploration. That doesn't hurt us too much. Cycling of the Tranquil Thicket. Interesting. How many basics have you got over there? Another Snake of Fire. I imagine that's probably the only one they have. So now we can Wasteland away the Field of the Dead. This is a weird game. I don't like my play earlier of trying to get them to tap off of it. I don't think that's necessary. Then we can play the other Wasteland or play the Ghost Quarter and then Ghost Quarter the Thespian stage. Right. Our opponent is ahead on land drops. We have the combo available to us, but we have to get... Oh, they got a second expiration. Sure. That's not so bad, but if they have a Life from Loam to go with it, then we're in trouble. Or like a mulch or anything if they're in that sort of eight mulch builds. Yeah. They're just a much bigger velocity tech than we are, and I think they heads up just win this matchup, which is going to be difficult. Okay, so we can't make a 20/20 in any way, shape, or form now. We need to... What do we need to do here? Urza Saga tokens is how we win this game, I think. Or if we can draw our Life from Loam and Wasteland our opponent to Oblivion. Our Yavimaya is helping them out a little bit as well, which is annoying. I don't think we can... I think we play out the Ghost Quarter in case our opponent has the Dark Depths themselves. We can Ghost Quarter our opponent's Karakas, but we need another way. We need to get rid of the Karakas and the Thespian stage before we can deploy our Dark Depths. There is a Life from Loam in their graveyard though, so I'm pretty sure we are done here. Cast your Life from Loam. Get back all these horrible things. So they can get back Field of the Dead now and just go that way to victory. I think this is the last chance we have of our opponent to make a mistake that gives us a chance to win the game. I suspect that's not happening. Okay, so getting their Field of the Dead trigger. I'm going to Wasteland me off of something. They won't hit the Thespian stage because we can copy something. Yeah, they hit the Yavimaya. I think we are done here. Like, they've got Exploration and Life from Loam. We're just not winning this game. Okay, Surgical Extraction. We want these. Soulguide Lantern is pretty good. Endurance is going to be good. Steely Resolve is a weird one because it's going to be mutually assured destruction. I think we just want possibly Force of Vigor here. The Sylvan Library is going to help. The Lightning Bolt looks very bad here. I don't think the Molten Vortex is where we want to be either. Any of these lands look bad to us. Boseiju, Bojuka Bog, Karakas, Maze of Ith, Sejiri Steppe. The Tabernacle is okay-ish if they're doing Field of the Dead, but they're usually going to be able to pay to the point that it doesn't matter. However, if we can then strip their resources, then it'll be okay. I think we want things that are more reliable for us. That makes sense. Maybe we can't fit in all of these things. Maybe we're just looking at something like this and then trimming. Maybe we don't want the blast zone. Maybe you don't want the Maze. The Maze of Ith is good against the Marillage. We already have Karakas for that. Maybe we just want one maze in. We'll try like this. I think our opponent's deck is just a faster version of for this particular matchup. They're just doing what we're doing, but better because they're more dedicated to doing it. So we have a Life from the Loam thing we can do. We can shut down our opponent's Life from the Loams, but is that good enough? I don't think it is. I think we need like a payoff. We need something like, I don't think the Life from the Loam on its own is good enough, especially post-ball when they're going to have ways of removing it. I think we need like the expiration. Okay, so we have the expiration. We don't have any green mana, so this is not a keeper either. This is a keeper, and we're probably putting back these Mox Diamonds. They don't seem great for where we're at right now. So I think play out Exploration, then we Thespian stage, play out Expedition map. We're going off. Now our opponent might just cast Mana Bond and put 6 lands into play, or 5 lands and discard a Life from the Loam, and then we probably just lose to that. But we can get Bojuka Bog if there's Life from the Loam in the graveyard. So we have options. How good our options are going to be remains to be seen. Covered Forest, Mana Bond. Okay, so this could be worst case scenario here. What are you putting in at the end of turn? Are you dumping your whole hand? Wow's trousers. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're pretty close to getting their stuff up and running. So I think we commune with spirits first, because we can play 2 lands. So we've always got that covered. I like the Wasteland. That's a thing for later, I think. Got this Thespian stage. We crack this. So we get Bojuka Bog. Play Bojuka Bog. Get rid of this Life from the Loam. Our opponent should not be allowed to draw 3 cards every turn. Okay. So our opponent is just living off the top now. They draw a land that's got a different name to these, which seems relatively likely. Yeah, so they get to make a token this turn. We do get to kill the Field of the Dead this turn. Now they can copy the Field of the Dead with Thespian stage, which they probably want to do now. Just in case I play two lands that do stuff, maybe. Actually, no, it doesn't really matter. It depends what the lands I draw on, I guess. Wow, no cards to show me. Okay, so we can make a 20/20 and we can Wasteland. This feels good enough. We have to decide what we're Wastelanding is the thing here. Is there... Because they have a Thespian stage themselves. So if they go to copy the Field of the Dead, we can Wasteland it. And then make a 20/20 in response, but then they have the Wasteland. So we can't really get rid of everything they have here. Alright. So we need our opponent to move on something. Why haven't they copied the Field of the Dead here? I guess they're worried about the Wasteland, but I think the upside is pretty high. Okay, so we might be able to do a slightly techie play here. So if we go 1, 2 to hit this, to target the Field of the Dead, that doesn't even feel great, does it? I think we will, this Thespian stage will copy our Wasteland. Let's see if this makes any action from our opponent. There is a Yavimaya on board. They're Wastelanding our Wasteland. Interesting. I think we Wasteland their Field of the Dead. Okay, so now we've got a free run to make Marillage on our turn, because things are down. Okay. We just have to fade 1 draw from our opponent. I think I can do that. We have to do this in our turn before the Thespian stage untaps. A Mox Diamond. Okay, so we'll float this. Actually, we don't need to float that at all, do we? Might as well just set this for green. Crop rotation. So our opponent's got 1 draw step off the top to beat a 20/20. So crop rotation does it, Karakas does it, Maze of Ith buys them time. That may be it. They might have endurances. Tranquil Thicket. Okay, another look. Yeah, sure. A 1 in 48 chance. It's not going to be our day, is it? Yikes. Ouch. Like, it's not necessarily a 1 in 48 chance, right? Because it's a 1 in... It's a 5 in 48 chance for the Karakas there. Yikes. A Soul Guide Lantern, you say? How much point is there even playing this game, if I'm being honest with you here? I guess they're both tapped for green anyway, so may as well go for the highest upside here. Guess we want to take out the Wasteland, I suppose. I think we just draw a card here. As sad as that is. A Sylvan Library, okay. That gives us a chance of having a look at some more cards. We don't get to pay a lot of life there because our opponent is clocking us for 6. Winding Way, sure. I suppose they could have hit a Winding Way or a Mulch to see more cards and have another shot at it. But yeah. Sometimes you come down on the wrong side of variance. They really swing and a miss on that Mulch. That's crazy. Not as crazy as my opponent swinging and missing on the Throne of the Dead 3 earlier. That was wild. Okay, so a Dark Depths or a Crop Rotation. Crop Rotation doesn't work, does it though? Because we need... there's no way we can get enough mana here, is there? We just have to play the Sylvan Library. Like, we've also got to deal with this Karakas. So we've got multiple problems coming our way right now. Sure, they're putting a counter on the blast zones, so they can blow up our Sylvan Library if they want to. Not that it matters at this point. Like, we shot our shot. We outplayed them with our Wasteland and their things and getting them to tap their Thespian stage. We got all that done, and we just needed to fade one draw from our opponent, and we failed. Pretty brutal, not going to lie. There's no Glacial Chasm in the decks. We can't just, like, fog or anything. Not that we could fog for very long if that was the case. We're going to blow our Sylvan Library up. Ghost Quarter, Wasteland, Maze of Ith. Okay, so we can lose our Ghost Quarter, our Thespian stage here. Feels very difficult to beat this. Interesting. Surprised I didn't either blow this up or do the other thing. No, we're just dead. Sure, so this matchup just feels like they're doing the same thing as us, but they have more ways of digging in. So where we've got cards that make us better against other matchups, if you're just playing the who can just do the best exploration things, we're always going to lose to this, I think. It's just the way it is, because some of our sort of more nuanced cards are not going to really work here, are they? So we're casting the Commune with Spirits, and they're casting Mulch. So we're looking at the top 4, and they're just drawing the top 4 pretty much. So we're just getting mashed down raw power. Although we got super close. Our opponent had to have the one specific card to beat us there. Obviously, there's multiple ways they could have had that card with crop rotation, whatever. But still, we had to fade one draw, and we didn't. So sometimes the Magic Gods don't smile on you. Okay, we're going to the last round, going for a 2-3, which is not great, but let's go. Yeah, this hand seems alright. I think we can keep this. So if we draw a land on our turn. Ancient Tomb. Okay. Another Mox Diamond is a pretty bad draw though. Let's start with a Mox Diamond and play this. And then let's play an Exploration. And let's play an Urza Saga, so we can play the Urza Saga game if we want to. And then let's play a Thespian stage. And we have these two crummy Moxes in hand. But we have a 20/20 next turn. And if for some reason that's not going to be good, like our opponent plays a Karakas or something. Oh, they could play a Blood Moon. Don't play a Blood Moon, please. They could be Painter, though. Goblin Rabble Master. Okay, that's not a Blood Moon. Okay. I think the only thing we have to fade now is Dead and Gone, which costs them 3 mana. So basically they tap down in their turn for anything. I think we play Dark Depths, and we'll play out this Wasteland. If we play out the Wasteland, it makes it very hard for them to cast Dead Gone here. Okay, they're scooping it up. So yeah, we hit this, and they have to have a Soul Land or land plus Sooner Spirit Guide, or something like that to cast Gone, and that's even if it's in their deck at that point. Alright, we would like Force of Vigors, please. Graveyard Hate is not going to be useful. We don't need this Bojuka Bog. Karakas, they might have the Layla, whatever that's called, so that's a good thing to try and bounce with it. Ghost Cores, Boseiju is very good. Tabernacle is pretty good against the Goblins. Sylvan Library can certainly help us if we're in a bit of a spot. The Lightning Bolts and Molten Vortexes are fine here. I think Mox Diamonds is a way of actually getting mana if we're under the gun is pretty nice. Are we supposed to board out Urza Saga because of how bad it is against Blood Moon? Interesting choice, that one. I think we probably are. I don't think Urza Saga is that good in this matchup anyway. Like we don't have a Shadow Spear, so we can't just make a big guy and connect with it. We can make an okay sized guy sometimes. I think this is probably okay. We've got 5 answers here to things. And Commune can help us out a little bit. Mindbreak Trap sometimes has text, but I don't think so. What does this hand do? This hand loses to turn 1 Blood Moon. But if they don't have Blood Moon, it's pretty good. If they have turn 1 Chalice, we can make a turn 3 2020. I think we keep. On the play, I think this is snap keep. There's Chalice. Chalice, sure. Okay, so that's not Blood Moon. Now, if they've got Blood Moon as well, then yeah, we just lose this one. Okay, now we're in an okay, well, not an okay spot, but we're in a spot that does stuff. Let's go and get ourselves a basic forest. So if we draw Boseiju and stuff, that's fine. Like, it slows us down from where we're trying to kill. But I have to imagine our opponent's got some amount of Blood Moon effects in their deck right now. So I think we're best off just having the ability to... Even if this is going to take us 1 extra turn to combo, I don't want to just be completely cold to Blood Moon. Maybe that's the wrong way to think of it. I should be trying to think of the how do I win the game rather than how do I not lose the game. Because now we're in a situation where we're a little bit behind. I think we do have to play out the Thespian stage. Because if we'd have played out the Yavimaya, then next time we could be threatening a 2020. If our opponent's got Blood Moon now, though, that's a little bit awkward. But it means that whatever we played that turn wouldn't have mattered as much. Now we can play a Tabernacle next turn if we think that's going to be useful. We need to see what our opponent's doing. This Chalice is doing some real work, but if we draw a Force of Vigor, we've got green cards to pitch to it. If we draw a Boseiju, we can crack it and then start doing other stuff. Caves of Chaos Adventure. Yep, that clock's pretty quick. I think maybe we shouldn't have tried to play around the Blood Moon, to be honest. Maybe we should have just played the can we go fast enough. So we need to draw a Mox Diamond this turn. That would be useful. Yeah, we're too eager to play around the Blood Moon, just going to get beaten down by little guys. Force of Vigor. How does that change things? This is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So this is lethal. So I think if we play the Tabernacle and we can crop rotate it away into something else, and that'll save us some damage. Or we play the Maze of Ith and then we crop rotate it into a... Still 1 mana shy, aren't we? So if we Maze of Ith this, we save ourselves 5 damage. If we play this, how much damage do we save? Probably less than that, right? We take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So take 8 if we play Maze of Ith. But then how do we get out of that? Yeah, if we'd played the Yavimaya, we could have made a 20/20 to block with. Because they can just pay for all their guys and kill us if we play Tabernacle. So we have to play the Maze of Ith here. Yeah, if we'd have played the Yavimaya on turn 1 and said we lose to Blood Moon, but we beat the aggro, maybe that would have been the better play. We're certainly not out of the woods yet either, but well, we're certainly not dead, but we're also not alive. If that makes sense. We're sort of in this weird Schrodinger state of can our opponent kill us this turn or not? Like if they've got another Rebel Master, that'll probably do a considerable amount of damage to us. The fact they didn't go into Forge is interesting. I thought you just go into Forge then and make your guy huge. Like one of your little guys huger. And it makes it really difficult for us to do anything. Get rid of the into Chaos of Chaos Adventurer. A Chrome Mox. That's not very exciting. So this is dealing 5. This is also dealing 5. So we can go and get a second Maze of Ith. But then how are we winning the game? I guess we Maze of Ith this guy. Do we want a second Maze of Ith here? That's going to buy us a lot of time. And we can play the Yavimaya and then the Dark Depths. That's 2 turns of taking 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Maybe that's good enough. Like if they Blood Moon us here, then sure. You got me. So we'll go and get our Maze of Ith here. No Rebel Master connection. So if they'd have gone down the Forge, they could have hit us for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 this turn. And then they'd hit us for 5 next turn and we'd be dead. The fact they've gone the other way means we've actually got some time. Chrome Mox. Sure, we knew about that one. You've been sandbagging a Blood Moon this whole time? A Fury. Okay, that's just as a threat. Come on, target your little guys. That'd be nice. Now what? Now we have a Boseiju that's not that relevant. We can play out a Tabernacle and force them to pay a load of mana if they want to keep their guys. But they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. So they can keep all their guys alive. We bounce back 2 biggest ones and we take 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I don't think we can win this one. I think we're just slightly too far behind because we did a play around Blood Moon earlier. Play out Tabernacle, where does that get us? Nowhere really. They'll pay for all their guys, they'll swing and kill us. If we play out Dark Depths this turn, I think we play out Tabernacle and hope they make a mistake. Enjoy your many abilities. So they can stack the stash on the tops, that gives them another thing to pay with. Feels like it's not very difficult for them to play this bit correctly. Alright, attack with everything. 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they have exactly lethal here. And we die. Alright, back to sideboarding. Do I want endurances just as a guide that does stuff? I don't think so. I feel we just... are they better than Sylvan Libraries? Green can be difficult under a Blood Moon potentially. Sylvan Library can help us find ways out of a Blood Moon. I think we just need to submit like this. Maybe we just had to say that we're on the draw there. We need to go faster. We don't have a turn. Alright. What does this hand do? This hand beats Blood Moon. We'll keep this. And makes a turn to 2020. Yeah, I'll take that. Yavimaya. Exploration. Wasteland. Go. Now I'd rather not use my Force of Vigor, if possible. But we can play a Dark Depths under Blood Moon, then blow up the Blood Moon with Force of Vigor, and then the Dark Depths has no counters on it, and then we kill our opponent with it. Which is the thing we can do. A basic mountain from our opponent. A Blast Zone. That was a good draw. We needed another land, so... Well, we didn't actually need another land, right? Let's go to the Thespian stage. Shall we play both of these out? And we say go. If they make a Blood Moon in response, we can make a 2020. We kind of want our opponent to cast something here. Anything will do, I think. Go on, cast a Blood Moon. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Sure, that doesn't affect things. We just make a 2020. What do we want to get rid of here? Probably the Blast Zone, isn't it? So that's for green. Quick rotate away, Blast Zone. Get Thespian stage. Thespian stage copies this. We'll tap this one and this one. Okay, so we got there. So we ended up with a 2-3, but it should have been a 3-2 because we punted that one game versus the initiative. And yeah, now there was a very slim chance our initiative player could have had something else, like another flyer they could have deployed, so it ended up not being a punt. But I think, considering we had a win on board potentially, I think it was worth not making that punt, obviously, and it's worth encountering that as a win. Right, so the deck was... the deck effectively went 3-2 apart from a slight error on our part. So I think if we're evaluating the deck, which is what we should be doing instead of evaluating me being an absolute clown, then the deck seems okay. However, the matchup that we should have won, we also got crushed by an initiative deck, and it just felt so unfair and miserable. So that's a bit awkward. Although it did feel slightly better than previous lands builds have, because Steely Resolve is actually a really, really good way of counteracting all of their stuff. So I think the Steely Resolve tech is good. Now, how long we're going to need that in the face of incoming bans, most likely, I don't know. But I think that's a good place to be if you really want to play lands. I do think that lands is not well positioned in the meta right now. I think it's quite hostile in the meta right now for a lands player. There's a lot of really fast combo decks. You know, there's lots of Storm variants and Oops and things like that. And Reanimator, which we do have stuff for, but they can usually come in and do their stuff below what we're doing, and it's going to be a problem for us. So I think the fact that there's so many quick combo decks, as well as the initiative, means that lands is in a really awkward spot. And it's not a deck that I would take to a tournament. And not just because I sold my Mox Diamonds and Tabernacles, but I don't think the deck is... That's nothing to say about this build. I think this build of lands is really trying its best to mitigate the problems, and there's some really cool deck building in there. I'm not 100% convinced on the Sylvan Library. We never really got to do anything with it, though. So there is that. I think it makes sense. I understand why it's there. I can't really give an assessment on it without having actually got it into play and done some stuff with it here and there. It did feel too slow the one time we saw it, really, but that's kind of what happens to you sometimes. I think being able to play at 10-1 with Mox Diamond is quite nice. It just sort of sets you up in a really nice way. So you've kind of got these 6 spells that you can just sort of cast off of Mox Diamond land and just really go to town. The Molten Vortex was great for us at times. So that was pretty cool. However, I have often wondered if lands wants to just be completely mono green these days, which sounds strange, but I think it might be a thing that we might want to do with lands, perhaps. Sort of get yourselves a few more basics going on there and go sort of that route. Because at the moment, we're basically just splashing for Pyroblasts, 2 Lightning Bolts, and a Molten Vortex. Now, Mox Diamond does make that kind of free, so I don't necessarily think it's too much of a stretch. I don't think the mana base is bad. What I will say, though, is Molten Vortex requires you to have a lot of red mana to sink into it, especially if you're trying to kill all these X4s or even X5s that the initiative can put up. So there is that to consider. As for the sideboard, I said at the beginning that I don't think one of Mindbreak Trap is particularly exciting. I think I'd rather just have another piece of Graveyard Hate or another something similar to what we've got, like another Force of Vigor or something like that, just to kind of have more redundancy. I think having a one of Mindbreak Trap, the amount of times it comes up, it's going to be not great. Now, maybe you've got it in there against like Oops and you think you can just mulligan to it until you until it's in your hand, and that's enough to win a game versus Oops. But I don't think you're going to win a best of 3 against Oops with this deck, full stop. I think it's going to be very difficult, so I don't think it's worth playing the one of Mindbreak Trap for maybe trying to get them in one game, because they'll just play around it quite easily in the next game. Anything else to say? The choice of Graveyard Hate makes sense, I guess. You got your turn 0 interaction on both pieces, but the Surge of Extraction doesn't require other cards. Leyline is very good as a card right now for Graveyard Hate, but I don't think lands is a deck that necessarily wants to run that. The other option for playing lands at the moment is to run blue and Uro, which I think is certainly a consideration because you get the ability to gain some life back, which is something I felt that I needed that we just didn't have in this particular configuration. So maybe some sort of that. Also, if you're running as a Saga package with Shadow Spear, that gives you a nice threat that you can do a lot of damage with and sort of stabilize a board by getting yourself a healthy life total, as well as just sticking it on a Marit Lage so it can't be effectively blocked, so you can just trample over and do all your damage. So that's another thing that I would consider. I haven't played too much lands for a while. I think I've only played one, maybe two leagues of lands before today, and that's it. And I haven't played lands since in paper for, oh Lord, when did I sell my Tabernacle? We're talking quite a few years ago now, way before Urza Saga type stuff was even a thing. So I'm obviously a little bit rusty and not the best person to listen to about lands, but I think this deck list is trying to do things. The Steely Resolve sideboard card is good. I think that is where you want to be. If you want to play lands, you want to beat the initiative, that's a good way of doing it. It beats a lot of removal spells and is cool. The Commune with Spirits, Sylvan Library type stuff, I'm not 100% convinced on, because to accommodate these things, we've got less Urza Saga package thing. Now you can argue how good the Urza Saga package is, but quite often you can just play Urza Saga and win a game off of it on its own in some matchups. And like against Delver, if they don't have the Wasteland in game one, then an Urza Saga quite often beats them. Now they do have Murktide, which is another problem, but I think you're losing a lot of the value of Urza Saga by playing this particular list. I would almost be tempted just to either go more into Urza Saga or cut it completely for something else. So you could cut this for, you know, maybe more Molten Vortex perhaps, or interaction that way, or main deck endurances even, something like that. Or you can cut some of this this sort of package here of your Sylvan Library, Commune with Spirits, that sort of stuff. Maybe some of the Molten Vortex, Lightning Bolt. I feel those are the two directions you can go right now. Also, Glacial Chasm feels like it might be quite useful. There's definitely matchups where if you can get it into play, it's very hard for your opponent to remove, namely the initiative. Now, it doesn't stop life loss from the trap, but it can buy you a lot of turns, especially like we saw where they were going quite wide there. And some other matchups, it's just a nice thing you can have to keep yourself alive. All right, I think I've talked about this deck list enough. I made a mistake in round one that I'm still really annoyed about. But that's Magic the Gathering for you sometimes, especially when you're trying to chat about what you're doing against the clock. But there we go. So I hope you enjoyed this sort of look at all the cantrip lands. I thought Commune with Spirits was good. I did like the Commune with the Spirits. It did feel like it made things more reliable. I don't think it makes lands good enough that I want to play in the meta, but this is definitely something to look at in the future once we get some bans, because this seemed like a powerful way to have your opening hands be good. Because obviously in lands you need to have something to make your opening hand worth keeping. Quite often that's just a life from the loam or whatever, and like an exploration, crop rotation is something useful. Whereas Commune with Spirits can be another one of those things that fills in the gap. It's kind of doing once upon a timey type things, and there might even be some more interesting enchantments that we could run potentially. Alright, I hope you enjoyed today's little league. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe and all that would be wonderful, and goodbye.